One of the great things about basing your channel off of interaction and discussion is that you get to feel the desire and dedication and compassion for a particular book series. And it's even more interesting when it scares the hell out of you. Let's talk about this week. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike here with another weekly update. Lots and lots and lots of things going on this week that I want to talk about. Lots of new things on the channel. Now, usually I would do some kind of video for when I hit a big milestone on this channel. And what I'm talking about, of course, is, hey, 3,000 subscribers. We actually went past 3,000 subscribers on the channel. What I decided at this point is I don't want to do a video every time I hit another 1,000 subscribers. So I tell you what, we'll do one for hopefully 5,000. Who knows, maybe 10,000 one day. We'll see. We'll see. I feel like a lot of new folks have showed up in the past week. I felt a little spike on the channel, and I think I know the reasons why. But I'm going to just, again, first I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming along on this ride with me. It's been so much fun. I never would have expected there would be this many people who are interested in my opinion about a book, and much less that than the constant watchers who always are in the discussion with me. They show up in the chat when I do a premiere or anything like that. Thank you guys so much. It really does feel like a community that I hope sticks around for a long time, because I don't plan on stopping reading anytime soon, and I'm having so much fun doing this that I hope that you guys will stay with me and keep doing so, and I don't ever get bored. If I am, hey, drop in the comments. Let me know what you would like me to change, what you'd like me to do. That's the whole reason I did something like I'm going to talk about next. Something I like to do is keep you guys interested in the channel by asking for your feedback, asking what, for example, you guys would like me to read. Now, I know my schedule's kind of packed this year with the Cosmere stuff, with the Dresden Files stuff, with the Wheel of Time stuff, and then mopping up Witcher and Demon Cycle and things like that. Yeah, the rest of my calendar year is kind of spoken for. But I like to have you guys help me out in deciding what I'm reading next, because it makes, to me, I think it makes you feel like you're part of the channel, and I want you guys to feel like that. I want you guys to feel like you give me feedback, and I do what you guys want me to do. I could talk to my wife about stuff that no one wants to hear. That's what I got her for, right? But I don't want to talk about something on this channel if it isn't something you guys want to hear about. That's why I kind of pulled back on a couple of the series I was doing that, people didn't seem to be interested in. Something that people seem to be very interested in is the poll results that I did last week. I'll put that video up here in case you did it, where I talked about the 5-book series that I put up for what I'd be reading in 2021. It was very obvious what was going to win, but what I had no idea about, because like I said, is that I would go on YouTube and I would search for this series, and there wasn't very much going on about it. There wasn't a lot of people talking about it, so I wasn't sure quite how dedicated the fandom was. But based off of the feedback in that video, the Malazan fan community is humongous. And it is very, very rabid. And it is very, very excited that I plan on reading this. And they just can't say enough about the series. And what I said in the intro is like, that has actually, what I said was I'm extremely terrified to read this series just based off of everything I've heard about it. And, a lot of the comments in there just kind of added to that. But so many people that just talk about how much this series means to them and the themes that they get out of it is just like, well, now I'm upset I got to wait until January. Now, those might be words I have to eat later. But everything that I'm hearing from the people that have gotten past this book, because this is the one that everybody seems to struggle with. But everyone who's got past this book and gotten about at least to the halfway point of the series just say it is absolutely incredible. And it just leaves a lasting impression on them, and that's the kind of material that I'm here for. So I welcome all of the new visitors to the channel. I'm sorry you got to wait until January when I start this, but hopefully you can look around the channel, see other things that you'd like to kind of hold you over until then. I'm looking very much forward to talking to you guys about it, because like I said, I had no idea. Just like with Wheel of Time, I had no idea Wheel of Time had that dedicated of a fan base until I started reading them. But it looks like Malazan might be like that too. There might be a very, very different kind of fandom for that. But I think it was a review from Petricker I read, and that's that reader that if you do Goodreads, you know who Petrick is. He's basically the top reviewer of fantasy fiction on Goodreads. And when I read his non-spoiler review for Guards of the Moon, he just talked about how like the Malazan fan community are just like the biggest assholes he's ever run into. And I'm sure some of that'll come out. But, I also think that I approach things saying, look, I don't understand everything. I'm going to read something and I'm going to tell you how I felt about it. And I have no problem asking you guys questions. I'm never the smartest guy in the room. There's stuff where I read a Wheel of Time book and people are like, yeah, this happened here. You missed that? Yeah, I missed it. Sometimes that happens. I didn't know what Rand had Calendor in that one book. Yeah, I missed it. So it does happen sometimes. So I'm hoping it can be the kind of community where people can talk to each other, explain things, help each other out. Because there's a few dozen people who said, you know what, I'm going to take that right along with you. I'm going to start Malazan next January too. And that's awesome. I would love that. And it's going to be something that's slow rolled, so it doesn't feel like anybody has to race to keep up or anything like that. But very interesting results in that poll, but I'm glad that you guys all participated. As for the going on this week, I did finish Warbreaker. It's more than just a beautiful leather-bound copy. It is a very good story. Give you a little, before I do my review will probably come out next week because I still like to, books this heavy, I like to think about a little bit after I finish them, and I don't want to do my review immediately, or else I feel like I'll either forget things, or sometimes if you let things sit for a couple days, you feel differently about it. Like when I did my my most recent Dresden review, where I said that when I finished that book, I thought it was my second favorite, but after thinking about it for a week, it's actually my favorite. It's actually my favorite in the series. So I definitely want to let this think about things for a couple days, because right now I'm going to tell you, I felt like I enjoyed this book quite a bit. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and for me, that's about as high as you're going to get. I rarely hand out 5 stars. That's a conversation. I'm going to do a video about my ranking system here soon, because people, they either love it or they absolutely hate it, but I'll get into that then. I think this one felt like it belonged in the Cosmere a lot more than Elantris did. I felt like Elantris is something that just kind of got crammed in there retroactively, whereas this feels like I could see something that connects to the Stormlight universe, and I do know there are some characters that have crossed over into the Stormlight universe now. Now I know this. So I feel like it's a 4-star book with like a 2-star ending. Does that make sense? I'll talk about the ending when I do that review, but it wasn't enough for me to take away from this book, because it was very well written, and maybe I was influenced just a little bit by the beautiful art in how they put this collection together, but that's beside the fact. I did mention Dresden. I am still going through Dresden. I did my review for Death Masks. I put it up there. That's number 5, and I finished number 6, Blood Rites. I finished it this morning. I don't know if it was the big shoes it had to fill after Death Mask, which I said is now my favorite of the ones I've read. If it wasn't for one very big scene in the middle of this probably would have been my least favorite Dresden book yet. And not to say it's bad. I think all these books are good. I just thought that the case file in this one was kind of meh. Didn't really care about it. And then the big kind of showdown, I don't know. I don't know if it kind of felt like recycled, but something just kind of landed flat for it with me, and it just felt it was a little anticlimactic. But I'll get into that more. I should be doing my review for it sometime next week. Those reviews are all spoilers after you get past book 2, by the way. But I feel like with the Wheel of Time is that people who have read that series, and just about everybody's read Dresden Files at this point besides me, people like to hear that, to hear what a first-timer going through it is experiencing, kind of relive that, and, like I said, it's a very friendly community. They like to kind of help you along the way. I'd say besides Wheel of Time, it's probably been the friendliest fandom I've met at this point. So very good time with that. I do wish that more people would watch those videos, but that's okay. I know not everybody's into the whole spoiler review thing. Now all I have for the rest of February is I started The Outsider by Stephen King. It doesn't take me long to read a Stephen King book. But, I really am not that far until I'm only like 30 pages into it at this point, because I wanted to finish Warbreaker, and then I was like, okay, well, let me just go ahead and knock this Dresden Files book out, and then I can just focus on The Outsider for the rest of the month. And that will finish my February reading schedule, which had 5 books. So I'm excited. I'm excited that the shortest month I was able to hopefully get all these in, unless something crazy happens. I don't imagine it will take me longer than a week to finish this. It doesn't usually take me a week to finish a Stephen King book. But doing that because I want to watch the HBO series. Me and my wife want to watch the HBO series, but I was like, okay, got to read it first. Definitely got to read it first. And it's the usual fucked up beginning for Stephen King, and that's the best Stephen King. Messiah King has something that makes you go, what the hell? What were you thinking when you started this book? It's usually pretty good. So he definitely seems like he's more into the detective crime story. And I like that. I know he likes that show called Bosch a lot on Amazon, which I know is based off of a book series. And I feel like that show and that series has kind of inspired him to do Mr. Mercedes and now The Outsider. He's really into the detective crime thing now, and that's cool. The man continues to evolve. But that won't be part of my Into the Multiverse series. That's actually just something I'm reading right now. Especially since I think it takes place outside of his multiverse. But there are other worlds than these, so everything kind of takes place in the multiverse. But we'll get back to that when we get there. But I'll just be doing a review for that and the TV show, and actually going to have a crossover with another BookTube channel, Knickknacks Corners. He's actually going to come on, and he's going to talk with me about that. So looking forward to that. Did a science fiction review this week for The Expanse. I've said I felt like sci-fi doesn't really do very much this channel, but then I realized, you know what? All I've done is why you should read The Expanse and Red Rising. And I think I just got so upset that I just can't get people to get interested in Red Rising that it kind of demotivated me away from doing other things. I was like, but you know what? That Expanse video got a lot of interest, and I want to keep talking about these books. So I'm going to talk about these. I feel like these will be more accessible to the more, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like Red Rising's gotten a bad vibe from folks. It's gotten kind of a stigma as being like YA when it is very not YA. It's the grim darkiest thing since First Law for me. But it starts that way, and I can see why people think that, and people look at those covers and they think, oh, this is a YA series. So I feel like the stigma is attached to that, to whereas something like The Expanse, people know that this is kind of a grown-up series right off the bat, and they feel like it would be more of what they're looking for. And I talk in that review for The Expanse right here about why I think you should check it out, because I think you'd like it quite a bit, because it's different than every other science fiction that I've ever read in a very unique way, as in like it's believable. Yeah, it's science fiction that I feel like is very, very believable. But I talk in depth about it there. I'm not just going to rehash it for you here. But I love it. I love it. I hope you guys watch the TV series too, because the TV series is excellent, and the books seem to be the reason why. Speaking of books, I did an update from my Kindle video. Now, there's a video I did when I first got my Kindle Paperwhite, and I don't review devices or anything, so I thought it was a very awkward video, very not paced at all. It was me rambling a lot, which I like to do, if you can't tell. But it's the most viewed video on my channel. It's like over almost 11,000 views now. And I was like, that's insane. But the thing is, like I said, I like conversation, and I still get questions on that video every day. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to answer these in a video. So I did my 6 months later review right here to answer kind of all of those lingering questions that I wasn't able to answer. And also I feel like, a lot of people do a review for a Kindle after having it for a couple of hours, and then you never hear from them again. I wanted to see, how I felt about it 6 months later. So it was actually kind of answering some of my own questions when I started actually putting together a pros and cons list for it. And most of them from that original video are the same, but there are some things, there's some tweaks that I've done that made it actually better, and a couple of things that kind of annoy me more. But if you are interested or on the edge about a Paperwhite, definitely check that out, because I think it can answer any question that you have about it, and I love it. I love it. Like I said, I don't go anywhere without the thing now. So no, it'll never replace, hardcovers for me, physical media. I don't buy video games. I still buy physical media. Music, I've kind of went the digital route, but I'll still buy, the albums for bands that I like to collect, where I've got like their entire catalog. So yeah, there is some collecting thing there, but I've went to digital on that, and I've went to digital on like Blu-ray and stuff like that. But yeah, I still like to buy my albums, and I definitely still like to buy my books and my video games. Video games, I think it's more because if it's bad, you can just sell it on Amazon. Try to get back some of your money. Definitely wouldn't take it to GameStop, because I don't want like 50 cents for it. Outside of the books, man, me and my wife finished watching season 2 of Yellowstone, which was phenomenal. I don't know why more people don't talk about the show. I think it's because it's on a network no one knows about, the Paramount Network. I think they did that Waco miniseries a couple years ago. But not as good as season 1, but very, very good. We blew through it in like 2 days. The kids were at grandma's, and we watched the whole thing that weekend. And what I think is really amazing about it is the first season I said, it's Sons of Anarchy. If you like Sons of Anarchy, this is Sons of Anarchy on horses. This season I said, this is Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy meets The Godfather in a modernized setting. There's so many things about The Godfather. And the funny thing about The Godfather is one of my favorite movies of all time. one and two. But it's always been one of those things where my wife's like, I have no interest. That can just be like your thing that you watch and you just kind of leave me out of, whatever. And I was like, okay, I mean, that's fine. We all have things like that. But after I started telling her the parallels of that story, non-spoilery, still hopes, small hopes that she would watch it with season 2 of Yellowstone. Now she's interested, and she says, you know what? Apparently that movie is a classic, so I will watch it just for the historical significance of it, and because I am kind of interested in those themes that you're talking about from Yellowstone. So I'm excited to finally show it, but now I got like that kind of nervous anticipation. I'm going, oh God, what if she hates it? What if she's like hate watching it? But if you've ever watched The Godfather, if you're the ADD nation that we have now that, can't watch anything without scrolling through their phone or something like that, yeah, Godfather might not be for you because it's, 98% dialogue. But I feel like it's a great movie that everyone should watch. Like I said, like she said, at least for the historical significance of it. And I'm excited that she's going to watch it with me. I don't know when we're going to do it, but that's when we're going to do it because we're starting season 3 of The Last Kingdom next. We have like a list. Much like I have a schedule for the books, you don't think we got a schedule for the shows we're going to watch? We like to just wait until a show's over and binge it. And we watched the first 2 seasons of Last Kingdom like back to back and really liked it. And then when season 3 was already available, we were like, wait, when is season 4 coming out? Because we don't want to like cliffhanger it. So what we said was we would at least wait until this year to watch Last Kingdom season 3. I still believe season 4 is coming this year. I don't know. But a very, very cool show if you guys haven't watched it. I still would recommend Vikings over it, but I feel like it's catching up. And if season 3 continues that trend of each season getting better, it could probably be neck and neck with Vikings for me. So looking forward to starting that because I am Uhtred, son of Uhtred. If you've watched the show, you understand that. Plan on taking the kids to see Sonic the Hedgehog on Sunday. We have a drive-in out here. If you drive about 20 miles that way, you can get to an actual drive-in out here, and basically get the whole family in for like $10. And, you just listen on your either headphones or your radio, or you can, some people bring out like an amp out there and connect it to the radio station and be able to hear the dive. But they show 2 movies for like the price of one. So it's Sonic the Hedgehog and the new Jumanji with The Rock. And I was like, look, the early movie is Sonic the Hedgehog. If the kids fall asleep before Jumanji starts, whatever, no big deal. But my kid is very excited to see Sonic. And it did gangbusters at the box office, completely destroyed Birds of Prey, just like I talked about right here, the reasons why. I talked about why Sonic was going to do good at the box office. And I tried telling people of my own generation that were like, oh, I don't know, that movie looks stupid. I'm like, well, you're not the target demographic anymore. But a lot of people my age that went said there's plenty of stuff in there for us too. So I'm glad to see it doing well. It's really cool that I'm hoping that it's just like when Batman began. Everybody gives the MCU the credit for superhero movies like becoming a serious genre at the box office. To me, it was Batman Begins. That was the one that showed they can do this serious, and it can make good money, and it can be done right. And the genre should be taken seriously because it's an untapped resource. I really feel like if they start taking some of these video game adaptations seriously, obviously this is a different thing because I believe this should just embrace the complete silliness, which it sounds like it did. Because apparently this is Jim Carrey that we all miss. This is the Jim Carrey we grew up with in the 90s that we wanted to see more of. And I'm actually, before I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll go suffer through it and take my kid. Now I'm like, I actually think I kind of want to see this movie. So we're going to do that Sunday. I'm excited to do it. I think it should be a good time. And we haven't taken the youngest to the drive-in yet. So interested to see how he does with that since he never sits still. So it should be really, really fun. No games this week. If I'm not doing this stuff, guys, I've been reading or doing schoolwork. 3 months till graduation. So I'm starting to get into the crunch there. And I don't like to talk about it a lot because I know it's very, very boring. But it hasn't been an easy semester so far. As far as music, it's really weird as I've been going kind of through this early 2000s kick. Sometimes I just like to put my iPod on shuffle and like a Linkin Park song came up. And that led to me listening to like Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, and Korn for a couple of days. And the thing was, it's like at first it's like when you put on like Creed or something and you're like, oh, I can't believe I ever used to like this. And then you know what, you're kind of tapping your foot and you're singing along with every word. And you're like, we all had our guilty pleasures, right? But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun, kind of just how I remember every word to certain Limp Bizkit songs. I'm just like, I really took myself seriously around then, didn't I? But That's it for me, guys. What are you guys up to this week? What are you watching? What are you playing? What are you reading? What are you listening to? Drop in the comments. Let me know what is up, and I will talk to you guys there. Have a great, great weekend.